Larry Elder here, the sage from South Central, the Prince of Pico Union, the Czar of Common Sense, the great Eldersky, Don Lorenzo. Welcome to the program. No Victocrats allowed because we've got a country to save. So let's get her teed up!
You want to play what? Say hello to my little friend!
What the hell's going on out here?
Ooh, that's a bingo!
888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. I am Larry Elder. This is an emergency. We have rising crime. We have rising homelessness like never seen before, and for the first time in our state's history, we have a net migration out of native Californians to other places. And you look at the way this man has handled the pandemic, basically slammed down the government, slammed down the state, and in the more severe way than any of the 50 states. There are untold bankruptcies, untold lives have been lost because of their hopes and dreams dashed, while he's lunching away at the French Laundry, having his own kids in private school education, and violating the very mandates he just now made with the very people that drafted them. So I consider this to be an intervention. This is a mission of mercy. This is damage control. So I've never seen the state like this. My father came here in 1945, right after the war. And he worked 2 full-time jobs cleaning toilets. And he managed to save enough money to get the DP to buy a house that right now in South Central is valued at $600,000. There's an insufficient supply of housing. That's why young people are leaving, going to places like Tennessee and Texas, in Florida, where they can get that starter house you can't get right now. What my dad did is impossible for somebody with a college education, let alone an 8th grade dropout the way he was. And so the California dream is increasingly fading for middle-class people and working-class people, and I want to do something about that. This is a unique situation where this man has been recalled. 2.2 million people signed the petition, which includes a lot of independents and a lot of Democrats who voted for him and now changed their mind. I want to be their voice. I want to be their champion. We have demonized the police. They're pulling back. It's called the Ferguson effect or the George Floyd effect lately. When cops are accused of racism, much of police work is discretionary. So you're driving around, you see something that looks suspicious. Why should you get out of the car and wade into this if people are going to take their cell phones and accuse you of systemic racism? So cops are pulling back. They're no longer engaged in what's called proactive policing that's caused crime to go down in places like New York. And as a result, crime is going up. The victims are predominantly black and brown people, the very people that people like Gavin Newsom claims he cares about. The number one job of the government is to protect people and property. And that's crime, and that's doing something about homelessness. Taxpayers pay for the streets, and now these people are staying there. It's not fair to the taxpayers. It's not fair to them. So many people leave California and go to places like Oregon, and my friends in Oregon say, why are you guys leaving California and bringing your left-wing policies with you? That's because the average person hasn't connected the things I'm talking about. There's a reason crime is going up and left-wing policies. There's a reason homelessness is going up and left-wing policies. And a lot of people leave California. They've had it, but they can't figure out the connection because they're working. They're not stupid. They're just working. They're trying to put food on the table and get the DP to buy a house. They don't have time to connect all these dots. I can connect the dots in ways I think that the average Californian can understand, and that's why I think I'm going to get support from independents and from Democrats, the likes of which the rest of the people in the field cannot do. I told him that Israel airlifted 16,000 Jews out of Ethiopia in the mid-'80s and the early '90s. He was unaware of that. I told him that the man who helped to found the Tuskegee Institute, Mr. Rosenwald, a Jew, had went on to help Booker T. Washington found some 5,000 schools, mostly in the South. He was unaware of that. Have you seen the movie Mississippi Burning? He said, yes. Are you aware that of the 3 young men who died, Messrs. Cheney and Schwerner and Goodman, 2 of the 3 were Jewish? Unaware. Are you aware that of the non-blacks who went down in the South in the 60s to register people to vote, 75% of them were Jewish? Unaware of that. I have a friend who one time was talking about how dominant she thought the Jews were. And I said, what percentage of the world do you believe is Jewish? She said, no idea. Ballpark it. No idea. Give me a guess. She said, 25%. I said, are you kidding me? She said, no, about 20. I said, you think 1 in 4 persons on the face of the earth is Jewish? She said, yes. I said, how about 0.2%? She said, oh my goodness, 0.2? I said, you didn't listen. 0.2%. 7 billion people in the world, 14 million Jews, do the math. 0.2%. She said she had no idea. How can you have no idea? Too much CNN, too little Larry Elder. One of the reasons for the skewed perspective is because the media never puts things in context. Israel is a tiny country. I visited Israel when I was 21 years old. I had my birthday in Israel. That's kind of spiritual. Tiny country. It is 1/50th the size of America. So, when a terrorist kills 4 Israelis, that's how it's reported. It's never translated to terms we can understand. Las Vegas, we lost over 50 people. In Orlando, we lost over 30 people. 4 people multiplied times 50 is 200. For us to get some sort of perspective, it's as if you picked up the newspaper and read that 200 Americans had been blown up in a terror attack. Do you think maybe there had been some conversation about that? I think so. But you pick up the newspaper, 2 Jews were killed. If you pick up the newspaper and you read that 100 Americans were killed, oh my goodness, what happened? Total and complete lack of perspective, and that's on the media.
My list of priorities. People want to have a good image for Israel. As an Israeli, I want Israel to be good. I don't care so much about the image.
All right. Larry, your take.
Well, imagine how people would feel about Israel were the media fair and balanced, and they aren't. Years ago, a professor of economics at a school in Illinois received a 4-page petition, a BDS petition, outlining all of the alleged atrocities that Israelis were committing against the poor Palestinians, and even the word apartheid was used. He put together, and was signed by 900 professors. He put together a 4-page petition outlining the atrocities that Arab countries had committed against women. The suppression of women, can't drive, can't work, can't be educated, and so forth, sent it to the very same people who had signed the first petition. He knew there wouldn't be nearly as many signatures, but he was shocked when virtually nobody wanted to sign it. This is what's going on in this country. The fact that John Kerry recently said Israel doesn't want peace, and he wasn't hammered, he wasn't skewered, is a scandal. The fact that Jimmy Carter can write a book and use the word apartheid in the title is a scandal. Even he ultimately had to recall the book and change the title. The idea that there are people seriously referring to Israelis as engaging in apartheid is offensive. Do you have any idea? During apartheid, were there members of the equivalent of the Knesset in South Africa? Was there a member of a black person who was on the Supreme Court in South Africa? I mean, it's absurd. And the fact that people can say this, and people on college campuses and professors can embrace this, is offensive. And the fact that the media does not go ballistic over this is what I mean by bias. Donald Trump yesterday made a joke about Elizabeth Warren, called her Pocahontas. Oh my goodness, he is a racist. But you can have John Kerry, the former Secretary of State, publicly say that Israel, quote, is not interested in peace? Crickets. Offensive. Now, at the beginning of this video, I told you I was once called a flag-waving, Jew-loving Uncle Tom. I copped a 2 out of 3. May God continue to bless America, and may God continue to bless the great state of Israel. I'm Larry Elder, and we've got a country to save. Out.
Morning, Road Ragers. I've been asked many times, if you're lucky enough to become governor, what do you intend to do? Well, if the mask mandates are still in effect, if I'm lucky enough to become governor, they will be repealed. No state worker is going to be required to take a test once a week and be required to wear masks at work. What's the point in getting vaccinated? The idea is that you're protected from those who might not be vaccinated and those who are not vaccinated. Why are you wearing a mask to protect yourself from spreading or contracting the coronavirus from other people who are not vaccinated, both of whom have made the decision to take the risk? I have been vaccinated. I'm an old man. I have comorbidities. But a lot of people have made a very different decision. In California, anybody who wants to be vaccinated very likely has been. And if you're poor, there are programs so you can get vaccinated for free. Whatever happened to choice? Thomas Jefferson warned against trading freedom for public safety. Also, if I'm lucky enough to become governor, I'm going to consult with my legal counsel and find out whether or not I could issue an executive order on housing to unleash the private sector so low-cost housing can be built. I'm going to have a declaration of state of emergency for homelessness. I'm going to have a declaration of state of emergency, if I'm able to do that, for crime. And I'm going to have a declaration for state of emergency for the absolute ridiculous other mandates that this man has imposed that make it difficult for people to make a living and for owners of businesses to make a profit. And you know what? Then I'm going to break for lunch. In a few minutes, I'm going to be on the Maria Bartiromo show on Fox Business. I think it's around 6:35 Pacific time. And please, throw something in the tip jar. electelder.com, because we have a state to save. Out!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this morning's Walk of Fame ceremony. I'm LaRon Gubler, President and CEO of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, which is presenting today's program. Today, Hollywood honors Larry Elder.
There are a few problems that can't be solved through hard work. Hard work wins. Larry Elder, the sage of South Central, is an American success story. And this honor, this star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame, is a testimony to that. But it did not come easy. In Larry's own words, never in my wildest imagination. And you got a very good spot, right here on the corner of Hollywood and Vine. Well done, very well done. You must have some influence, sir.